Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placone and Steph Zamorano, the Miserable.
Howdy, howdy.
So, you know how this show feels about the Russia hacking thing? If they did hack, who gives a F? Because we do the same thing to other countries. We all know that countries do that. We tapped the phone of Angela Merkel, for F's sake. We just overthrew the democratically elected government in Ukraine. We did the same thing in Honduras. So we do this all the time, all right? This is not a big deal. And what did Russia do? If they did hack into the Democratic servers, they revealed the truth about the Democrats. They didn't go in and flip votes. They didn't do anything of that. But they didn't even do that because there's no evidence of it, okay? And you remember this slide? Remember how they would say there were 17 intelligence agencies signed off on it? 17.
We have 17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded that these espionage attacks, these cyber attacks, come from the highest levels of the Kremlin, and they are designed to influence our election.
No, it's not true. No, it's not true. They're not even true about the 17 organizations, the 17 agencies inside the government who've concluded. That's also a made-up lie. Let's see what PolitiFact says, though. The Director of National Intelligence, which speaks for the country's 17 federal intelligence agencies, in a joint statement, said that intelligence community at large is confident Russia is behind the hacks. We have 17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded that these espionage attacks, these cyber attacks, came from the highest levels of the Kremlin, and they are designed to influence our election. That's what Hillary Clinton said. They say it's true. PolitiFact says it's true. That's really weird, because here's the Director of National Intelligence, and let's see if he says 17 agencies or not.
As you know, the IC was a coordinated product from 3 agencies, CIA, NSA, and the FBI, not all 17 components of the intelligence community.
I'm sorry. Wait, what? Because PolitiFact...
As you know, the IC was a coordinated product from 3 agencies, CIA, NSA, and the FBI, not all 17 components of the intelligence community.
That's weird, because PolitiFact just said it was true, that it was all 17. But here's the Director of the National Intelligence, and he's saying it's untrue. It's almost like the establishment press does propaganda all the time. It's almost like they do propaganda all the time. PolitiFact. That's the Director of National Intelligence.
As you know, the IC was a coordinated product from 3 agencies, CIA, NSA, and the FBI, not all 17 components of the intelligence community. Those 3.
PolitiFact, 100% incorrect.
So Snopes, PolitiFact, we've shown you those places are shitty. Just so you know, you can't trust PolitiFact. You have to double check everything. So it's almost like worthless having PolitiFact, and it's almost worthless having Snopes. Well, Snopes is completely worthless. Snopes is bullshit. Snopes is Democratic propaganda. That's what it is. So here's the statement to the New York Times. It's from the New York Times. It's in this article. Trump's deflections and denials on Russia frustrate even his allies. And that's from June 25th of this year. And it's this long article. You want to hear this article? It says, in the span of 72 hours, President Trump described the email hacking that roiled the 2016 campaign as a Democratic hoax and as clear aggression by Russia that his predecessor, Barack Obama, failed to address. Other times, Mr. Trump has said the hacking might have been done by China. Or, as he claimed during the first general election debate, the hacking could have been the work of a lone wolf weighing 400 pounds sitting on his bed at home. Then there was the time Mr. Trump blamed some guy in his home in New Jersey. So they're doing all this stuff to make Trump look crazy. As they push a false story. But the campaign is long over. While many of Mr. Trump's allies and supporters are still reluctant to blame Russia, the American intelligence community has said that Russia interference is a fact and not an opinion. You know what else they said was a fact? WMDs in Iraq was a fact. You know what else they said was a fact? The Gulf of Tonkin. You know what else they said was a fact? That repealing Glass-Steagall would help our economy. You know what else they said was a fact? NAFTA would help our economy. You know what else they said was a fact? That waterboarding works. You know what else they said was a fact? that Russia had, But the campaign is, while many of Mr. Trump's allies' supporters are still reluctant to blame Russia, the American intelligence community has said that Russia interference is a fact, not an opinion. You know, they said that about Iraq. So did the Washington Post. So did the New York Times. So did CNN. They all said it was a fact, not an opinion. And we went to war. And they were wrong. And yet they don't go, hey, remember we were wrong last time we said this. We took the word of the CIA. Remember who the CIA is. They kill, murder, and torture people and overthrow democratically elected governments before breakfast. Why not believe them? Let's remember, they don't put that in there. Let's remember who the CIA is. They're a bunch of lying, murdering fucking torturers. They don't put that. They say it's a fact. They don't go, remember Iraq was wrong. Mr. Trump's strategy of muddying his position has left the Russia issue grow, gumming up the gears in his administration's efforts to move forward with major legislation and decisions. Through it all, the president's allies continue to see Russia as a boogeyman for Democrats and a rapacious news media, an issue his core voters think is manufactured. I wonder why. That includes some important decisions Mr. Trump will have to make, whether to support tough sanctions against Russia or to give back Russia property seized by Obama administration or to try to remove Robert S. Mueller III, the special counsel investigating. What are they doing? What are they doing? Is Trump going to be tough on Russia like Obama was? They sold them plutonium, up frickin' 20% of our uranium production. Putin used to go with fishing at Kenny Bunkport with the Bushes. What are you talking about?
They're red baiting is the answer to that question.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So what this is called the New York Times red baiting, which is the most disgusting bullshit you could do. And they're fucking doing it. They're red baiting. That's what the newspaper does, baby. They red bait. It's disgusting. Officials in a number of states have complained that the White House has done little to try to safeguard the 2018 and 2020 elections against potential Russian intrusions, even as evidence grows that there were efforts to tamper with voter rolls last year. What the fuck? That's the New York Times. And you want to see what's at the end of that? At the end of it, New York Times retracts that 17 intelligence agencies canard, which thousands of journalists have spread. Here's what this says. By the way, the correction was at the bottom of that. All that shit I just read you, the correction was at the bottom of all that red baiting, smearing bullshit. They put this correction at the bottom. Are you ready? Here's the correction. A White House memo article on Monday about President Trump deflections and denials about Russia referred incorrectly to the source of an intelligence assessment that said Russia orchestrated hacking attacks during last year's presidential election. The assessment was made by 4 intelligence agencies: the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the National Security Agency. So what they say is that, so now in their correction, the New York Times is saying that the assessment that Russia hacked into our election was made by 4 agencies. This is their correction. Their correction is saying it was made by 4 agencies, and those 4 agencies are the Office of Director of National Intelligence, the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA, National Security Agency. The assessment was not approved by all 17 organizations in the American intelligence community. That's their retraction at the bottom of a red baiting, smearing story. And guess what? Even their correction's wrong. It wasn't 4 agencies. You just heard what he said. It was 3 agencies. Do you want to hear him again?
As you know, the IC was a coordinated product from 3 agencies, CIA, NSA, and the FBI, not all 17 components of the intelligence community.
3. He just said 3. The New York Times, even in their correction, gets it wrong. They say 4. They're still wrong. Isn't it funny they always err in their favor? Their propaganda pushing bullshit favor? Isn't that funny? They didn't say 16. They said 17. They didn't say 3, 2. They go 2 agencies. They said 4. Isn't that funny? They always err the wrong way. Isn't that weird? The newspaper does. Even in their correction, they're still smearing. Isn't that weird? In their correction. But we got to be upset about other people doing fake news. The Washington Post has to be worried about you jag-off YouTubers. But they do it every day, nonstop. Front page, baby. And they don't give a shit. And then they'll issue a correction at the bottom of an article that no one reads, and the correction's wrong.
It's a pretty significant difference, too. I mean 3 versus 4. Okay, that's one thing.
Okay,
But,
that's what. 17.
17. I'm no math guy, but I'm pretty sure I could eyeball that every single time. Like if you were like, hey, Ron, one party has 17 people on it, one party has 4. I'm gonna get that right 100% of the time.
And how about that bullshit article the New York Times wrote about? I mean, you guys are only the shitty corporate-owned lapdogs to power, completely corrupted, manufacturing consent establishment press in the United States could somehow find a way to make Donald Trump look like a victim. And that's what they're doing. So when they write articles like that and they smear him, that's not helping anybody. That's making his supporters see through the New York Times and never trust them. Because the New York Times is lying, I would say, about half the time. And if it's important, and if it's an important issue, they're lying all the time. The New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN.
And like we've said before, the one person they're actually helping is Trump.
They're helping Trump.
Yeah, I mean, you said in this article they're trying to make Trump look crazy. You know what Trump needs to do to look crazy? Be awake.
That's right.
It.
You
And
don't have to
they're
help.
actually helping him.
Yeah. So when Trump says fake news, they point to this. They point to the 3 CNN reporters they just had to fire for another fake news story. They point to by the way, I want to cover that. They called the senior producer at CNN. Oh, he just works in the health. He doesn't work in news. The senior producer. What does he work at the pharmacy at CNN? He works in news. And his focus is health stories. And you know what health stories include? The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, single payer, Trump care. All those things are covered by a health news reporter. So they're trying to pretend like, oh, he's not even a reporter. I think he gives out aspirins to people. That's another video. So this video, there you go. And by the way, when is Rachel Maddow going to report this? She's not. When are they going to apologize for pushing this nonstop since October? They're not going to apologize. In fact, I guarantee you, you turn on Rachel Maddow, she's going to be pushing this because after this came out, John Podesta is still lying. John Podesta, who's the liar of all liars, he's still, by the way, he cooked up the whole Russia propaganda to throw on Trump. It was him, John Podesta. And what does John Podesta do? He goes on Fox News, and what does he say? This is after the New York Times had already corrected their story from October. This is after they had already corrected their story. John Podesta goes on Fox News and says this.
Fox can do whatever it wants to do on this matter. The truth is that Vladimir Putin, at his direction, according to 17 U.S. intelligence agencies, interfered with the U.S. election to help.
They don't care. So Chris Hedges says these plutocrats, these corporate Democrats, they lie, they steal in public, right out in the open. He's lying right out in the open. He doesn't know any other way to do it. He's a professional liar. He started one of the biggest lobbying firms in the world. He's a professional liar, John Podesta. And that's the guy Hillary Clinton had running her campaign. And he's a professional liar and a professional smearer. And he just lied again. And there will be no price to pay for him lying, because he's lying about Donald Trump. He's lying at the behest of the establishment. And if there's anything you can learn from this show, when you lie at the behest of the establishment, you will pay no price. You will pay no price. You can money launder billions of fucking drug money. If you give a donation to a politician, you can do it. But if you get caught stealing cosmetics, they're going to put your picture on the local news. Oh, we got some shoplifters. That's what happens in America. So there you go. It's propaganda. We do the same thing. Even if Russia did hack into the DNC server, which they never let the FBI even examine their server. So there's so many things wrong with this. Because even if Russia did hack into the DNC server, which there's zero proof of, and the DNC did not allow the FBI to inspect their server. So you know what that tells me? It's bullshit. Even if they did what all this propaganda says they did, Russia hacked into the DNC servers. What's the effect of that?
I've been a Democrat all my life. I think the Democrats, not only are they out of touch, they have no interest in correcting the situation. They're not doing any postmortems. They're writing off, well, we don't own the White House because of Putin or because of WikiLeaks. What did WikiLeaks tell us, by the way? They, regardless of who was behind it, they confirmed that Hillary Clinton and the Democratic establishment are liars, and that they had their thumb on the scale, for Hillary Clinton. Well, so what are they basically saying? If we hadn't been caught lying, we'd be running the country right now.
So that's what the WikiLeaks emails revealed. That's if the Russia hacked into the DNC server, that guy says, what did they reveal anyway? That the Democrats are a bunch of liars. They cheated their own people. They screwed us out of a progressive president. That's why we have Trump. Because they cheated the guy who could beat Trump, and they jammed down a corporatist warmonger down the country's throats who was hated. She's divisive. She's hated. She's a narcissistic maniac. She connects with no one. They force that on you. And what did WikiLeaks reveal? Reveal that they did that, and they lied and cheated you to do it. And so now John Podesta says, hey, let's just start talking about Russia, and let's start, people are already pre-programmed to hate Russia because we were growing up being afraid of Russia. So they did it, and it worked like a charm. Look at all the fucking chumps in the media that go right along with it. I don't know if they're chumps. Maybe they're being paid. Like the Democrats are being paid. So there you go. There you go. Hey, the next live Jimmy Dore show is July 17th. That's right, July 17th. That's a Monday in Burbank, California. Get your tickets right down here or go to jimmydorecomedy.com. July 17th, Burbank, California, live Jimmy Dore show.